Hey Wookiees, Rebels, and more. I have a very quick video today, kind of a headcanon thought I've had for a while. Yeah, let's just dive into it. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, Padme is dying in childbirth, and the droid floats up, and more or less the droid says that Padme is dying from sadness, and there's no logical explanation to why she is dying. That kind of logic has always sat weird with me. I have seen re-editors add in new voice lines to the droid to have the droid say something like, due to a severe strangulation, Padme is going to die. But I don't necessarily like that either. And I've seen people theorize that Palpatine was the one who is draining Padme's life, that Palpatine kills Padme. But I don't think that adds to the tragedy of Revenge of the Sith. So my pitch is, what if Vader, during his transformation, drains Padme's life through the Force? We know Force Drain is an ability that allows you to drain out the life of others. I believe Darth Bane uses it in the second novel of his trilogy, but it's an incredibly dark side move where the Force user is able to drain the life of someone else in order for them to stay alive. Not necessarily healing, but being able to hold on to hatred and fear from someone else. I imagine this is what Darth Maul must have done to survive so long as well. While Anakin is transforming into Vader, he is suiting up and he's in constant pain. He is suffering and he's not thinking logically. We can see him screaming and he's clearly in pain. And when everything is said and done and he takes his first breath, his first question for Palpatine is, where is Padme? So clearly Padme was on his mind. I feel like the distance doesn't necessarily matter here. We have seen people use the Force over great distances before. Vader chokes an officer just because he's on a video screen, but we have no idea the distance between the ship, and he's on a super Star Destroyer. We've seen Kylo and Rey talk throughout the galaxy, so I don't think it's necessarily that far-fetched to think that Vader could drain Padme from a distance, along with that Anakin and Padme had an extremely close connection, and that the more you have a connection with someone, the less important distance matters. This also explains why the droid has no diagnosis for what's happening. It's talking to Obi-Wan and Yoda, and he's like, I don't know what's happening, she has lost the will to live. And that's because the droids are incredibly analytical. They go by the numbers. They have no idea how to recognize, like, if something is being drained by the Force. They have no idea how to recognize the Force. You might be able to make an argument that if they went to a infirmary in the Jedi Temple, that those droids might be able to figure it out. But I like the idea that most droids don't have a good understanding for what the Force is because of how they're hardwired and how their computation works. Lastly, I think on a deep level, I think Anakin draining Padme in this moment really does put the icing on the cake for the Revenge of the Sith tragedy. Because Anakin did choke her and she passed out, but she was in some level of condition to where she could give birth. But if Anakin is draining her and he actively kills her, like the whole story arc Anakin goes through in Revenge of the Sith is to heal Padme, and to know that instead of healing her, in his suffering, he drains Padme's life. That's kind of the saddest part about Vader's transformation, is that when he puts on the armor, that's what seals Padme's fate. I'd be curious to know what you guys think, if you subscribe to this headcanon, if you think Palpatine drained Padme, or if she just died through sadness, or if you like having a droid say neck strangulation or whatever. I really appreciate everyone who watches these videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.